Hello, guys, and welcome to Odds on Euro 2024 qualifiers second match day in Europe. We have games on Monday, on Tuesday, and we have Dani Fisichella, Alvaro Romeo. Hello, our experts to analyze the best games we have in these 2 days after another weekend with international football. So, as always, we ask you to ask any question to Dani and Alvaro. If you have any doubt, of course, tell us your tips, and don't forget, press the like, subscribe if you like our videos. And now it's time for the show. Let's go. We've picked the best games we have on Monday and Tuesday. I have to say that it's not easy to pick good games in these days because, being honest, the level is not that amazing in these 2 days. But still, there are some interesting games. And we are going to learn, I'm sure, a lot with Dani and Alvaro. Let's start with the first game we've selected. Is Hungary, Bulgaria. This is Group G, that actually is very interesting because after this one, we are going to analyze also the Montenegro, Serbia, and Hungary especially. I think they have a great chance to qualify for the Euro. We didn't see them at the weekend playing official football, Dani, but we've seen them in the Nations League in a very tough group. You saw them against Italy, against England, against Germany. And they were good. Now they are very, very favorites to play against Bulgaria because they lost also at home against Montenegro. But I have a question, Dani. How is this Hungary when they have to attack? Because we see them defending.
Well, I think you underestimate Hungary at your peril, and the likes of Italy, Germany learned it, and also France in the last Euros. But it's true, it is a team that like to set up defensively. They like to counterattack. They all know what they're doing, despite not having big stars there. It's a very well drilled, very compact team managed by an Italian, of course, Marco Rossi, and they are in with a good chance to come back to the Euros for sure. They won 6 out of the last 7 Euro qualifiers. That tells you that the team has improved, managed not to get relegated in Group B of the Nations League. So obviously, thanks to that win in England, and at home they've been solid recently. They beat the like of Norway, Croatia, Wales. Now, this is a mismatch, and you can see from the odds why Hungary are favorites. They are 35 places above Bulgaria in the FIFA ranking. Now, some people don't believe in the FIFA ranking, but if you are 35 places ahead, that means there is a gulf in class. And unfortunately for Bulgaria, for our Bulgarian friends that I know are following this eagerly, and all our colleagues as well on Oddspedia, I'm afraid Bulgaria look a bit lost, I must say. They have not been to a major tournament since 2004. And if you look at the roster of Bulgaria in Euro 2004, when they finished bottom of the group, of course, with Sweden, Italy, and Denmark, there was a very young Dimitar Berbatov, 23 years old. There was Stilian Petrov. There was Valery Bozhinov. There were a couple of players playing in Bundesliga. Have a look at the team of Bulgaria now. Most of them, they play in Bulgarian sides. Nothing wrong with it. The only fact is Bulgarian side have been almost erased from European competition recently. We had Ludogorets up until a couple of years ago, but it's no longer the case. They only won one of the last 16, Bulgaria, away from home. Lost to Hungary, by the way, 3-1 in 2020. Against Montenegro, another disappointing one. They did control the ball, but they couldn't capitalize. Who's the best player for them? Despodov, 9 goals. Well, he scored against Italy, and that 1-1 prevented Italy to go to the World Cup. But apart from that, probably the most promising talent, it's Iliev, who's 19 years old, plays for Inter. According to The Guardian in the UK, last year was one between of the 60 under 21 to follows around Europe. But, the truth is that there is no player in this current squad in double figure with the national team. I can't see them going to Budapest and getting a result. I'm going to go for a nation handicap -1 for Hungary. And I'm sorry for the Bulgarian viewers. That pays 192. So if they only win by 1 goal margin, you get your money back more than a goal margin. I think is a good return, almost double your stake, 192.
And Danny mentioned the poor away record of Bulgaria. Alvaro, they weren't able to beat Gibraltar, for instance, recently in an official game.
Or Gibraltar, as we say in Spain, because Gibraltar is also in Spanish territory. Hungary, Bulgaria, here, I think that Bulgaria's away form is a concern, because it's true that they didn't lose an official or competitive game away in 2022. That's very true. Don't forget that. But at the same time, this clashes directly with the fact that they didn't win a game away in the Euro 2020 qualifiers, and they didn't win a game away in the World Cup 2022 qualifiers either. So away from home, they have been one of the weak sides of the European zone right now. And to be honest with you, I don't think that we can trust them completely against Hungary, just because Hungary are a good side right now. And for example, Hungary's form in 2022 was kind of impressive. Forget the fact that they didn't play the World Cup, because it's not easy for the European sides to play the World Cup in comparison to playing the Euro, because there are less spots. But Hungary in 2022, they beat England twice with a very commendable, remarkable, and probably unforgettable 4-0 at the Stade Molineux against England. They managed to come first in a group with Italy, England, and themselves in the Nations League. And I think that their home and away record is not too dissimilar. I don't think that Hungary is a flop when they go away. I don't think that at home they are super impressive, that they are good enough to beat Bulgaria. That's my opinion, really. They did very well in 2022, as I said, and beating England twice, it's something very remarkable. And the biggest opponent in the qualifier has to be said, it's probably Serbia in this all Eastern Europe group. So I'm going to go for Hungary to win, because I think that they will put their eyes here as one of those must-win games in order to come out first of the group ahead of Serbia. Hungary to win is 149. That would be my safe bet, in fact. But I also like Hungary to score over 1.5 goals. It's a good one here, 173. I do like this one. And of course, if you go to the individual market, there are players who are doing very well this season. Hungarian players. Szoboszlai is probably the most remarkable of all of them, but him scoring pays only 3.1, and he doesn't have the scoring numbers or the scoring reliability to go all in for him. But if you think that the RB Leipzig attacking midfielder can make it, I think that is worth flagging that odd as well.
Okay, and in this group also we have Montenegro, Serbia. Serbia, they are favorites to top this group, and Hungary, they are second favorites to top this group. Perhaps Montenegro, they have a chance to qualify for the first major tournament. They beat Bulgaria, as I said. This game, of course, is a very important one around politics. They were just one country not long time ago. And talking about football, Alvaro, this Montenegro, Serbia, it's also important for Serbia. They won against Lithuania and they are the favorites, but it's a strange Serbia because they qualify for the World Cup but not for the Euros. Now, of course, they have the chance to qualify, but this is the toughest game in this group for them.
Yeah, and don't forget that in the World Cup, for example, they didn't win a game. I mean, they had a difficult group with Brazil, with Cameroon, with Switzerland. It wasn't easy. In fact, they got a draw against Cameroon in a very, very good game. I remember, but at the end, Cameroon managed to get the draw because Serbia was beating them 3-1. Serbia is a good side, that's for sure. And in my opinion, from all the European sides that should be disappointed about not qualifying for Euro 2020, Serbia is the one that should feel more disappointed with itself, really. Because, again, there are 24 sides, and even Finland, who are doing very well, by the way, I don't want to take anything off them, but, many sides qualified, and Serbia didn't. So I think that Serbia will qualify for Euro 2024. These two countries, they have met before, Montenegro and Serbia. They played in the 2018 UEFA Nations League. Serbia beat them twice. Despite having been playing together as a joint nation and not doing it now, these two sides, I don't think they got like major political problems or toxicity right now, because otherwise UEFA will separate them. Like, for example, I don't know, you know that Spain and Kosovo cannot play against each other, you know, but it doesn't happen with Montenegro and Serbia. Montenegro beat Bulgaria 1-0. It was a resounding result, in my opinion, because they didn't win any game in the Euro 2020 qualifiers, so good for Montenegro. It was a long time that they hadn't won a game in this phase of the competition. In the last Nations League, Montenegro did okay. They won 2 games out of 6, which is all right. And in 2022, they played 5 games at home. They won 2. They lost just 1. But it has to be said that in the game that they lost at home against Finland, they were reduced to 10 men very early in the game. So I think that Montenegro at home, they are okay. Then Serbia, I think that they will set their eyes in qualifying for this Euro 2024. I said before that they didn't play in Euro 2020, and they didn't play because they lost to Scotland in the playoff penalties. But Serbia has a good side, has a good team right now, and I think that they will be very competitive here. So I expect them to win this game 175. It's Serbia to win. Those are the odds. And the home team, Montenegro, to get over 2.5 cards is something that caught my eye straight away as well. I think that is a very good odd. The game can have a little bit of physicality, probably in the second half as well. And the home team to have over 2.5 cards, that doubles up your bet, 191.
Perhaps it's a hot game. Murat is going for Serbia over 1.5 goals. Do you also trust Serbia in their visit to Podgorica, Dani?
It's good. It's good. I like that one too, honestly.
Look, I think the quality of Serbia has been outlined really, really well by Alvaro. I was a little bit disappointed with their game management in the World Cup, especially that game against Cameroon, 3-1 up, and they still play with a very high line, very attacking. Also against Switzerland, they were 2-1 up, conceded a couple of goals on the counter. So I think it's a little bit sometimes the emotions. They run high with the Serbs. They need to keep the cool heads a little bit more. But it's definitely a team, is definitely a side that you have to be feared and respected. Under Dragan Pixi Stojkovic, they improved a lot. This is the side that went to Portugal in the last World Cup qualifiers, beat them, and forced Portugal to go to the playoff, where everyone thought they were going to go to the playoff. Tadic and Vlahovic scored against Lithuania. It's good news for Vlahovic, was desperate for a goal. He's having some difficult times at Juventus, but he's getting there, He's having the chances. And they always say for a striker, if you have the chances, it's a good sign. If you don't convert them, okay, but sooner or later you will. And Vlahovic has done it. They will start up front with Mitrovic and Vlahovic again. So, a very physical, strong pair. Probably a returning midfield for Milinkovic-Savic. The only question for Serbia is the defense. Only 2 clean sheets in the last 8. Again, I think it's the lack sometimes of game management and how to slow down games. Whereas Montenegro, only 1 win in the last 5 games. They lost to Serbia twice in 2018, 2-0 and 2-1. Never qualified for a major tournament, Montenegro. We have seen more skilled Montenegro sides, but never an easy trip to Podgorica. During the years, Italy, England played there. Is never a walk in the park, I would say. They could make a goal, I think, Montenegro against the Serbia side, but I do agree with Alvaro. Serbia probably going to come with 3 points. I'm going to go for an over 2.25 goals, 198. This is an Asian line, so obviously, if there are more than 2 goals, you win 198. If there are only 2 goals in the game, you lose half your stake. Less than 2 goals, you lose the entire stake.
We've seen better Montenegro with Mirko Vucinic, for instance, a player that I love him so much, but he's not there anymore. Savic, for instance, the Atletico de Real Madrid player, is in the Montenegro defense. And on Monday also we are going to analyze Ireland, France. Of course, we are all excited about France, 4-0 against Netherlands. Mbappé as captain, Colomwani was the number 9, and this shouldn't be a walk in the park for France. Let's see, because Ireland, the level is low, Dani, recently. But we have to say that at home, for instance, they drew against Serbia or Portugal for the previous qualifiers, so they are not that bad when they play at home.
The interesting things with Ireland is that now there's been a change in generation. So the new generation of player is coming through, and they are imposing themselves at domestic level. First and foremost, Ferguson, who plays for Brighton, has been really good, and he scored 2 against Latvia in the actually scored 1 goal in the friendly against Latvia. But then he got other players, so Bafemi, Ogbene, Bazunu, the keeper. So you got more young players coming through. It's a good change, and that's helped by the fact that Stephen Kenny has been the under 21 manager, so he got the players through. They still got a few veterans, of course, the captain Shumos Coleman, but it is good that there is something, because the team, the side in the last few qualifiers looked old, stale, not many ideas. Obviously, it is a side that still need to gain experience, still need to face a top team, because they haven't done it in the last year and a half, apart from Portugal, which they held, but it wasn't a great display from Portugal. I remember those 2 games, but normally they come short against the side that are better than them. They recently lost to Norway, Scotland, Ukraine. Now they play the vice champions of the world. It's going to be a real tough ask for them. They not only have to defend here well, but they need to be able to keep the ball and tire France out. Can they keep possession? Can they keep the ball against this sort of France side? I don't know. They haven't won any of the last 5 qualifiers, Ireland, but they could be in with a chance in the group to at least hope for a playoff. But there is the Netherlands here. Okay, it's difficult. France, very exciting side, also because of the formation they got. Konate and Upamecano against the Netherlands were superb, majestic. Perhaps at the moment they are the best centre-back pairings in Europe. Both 1 meters 90, strong, quick. They can read the game. Very interesting. They got Kunde playing as a right back, which basically becomes a third centre-back, allowing Theo Hernandez to bomb on the left-hand side. And then the player that is the unspoken hero is Griezmann. Griezmann now has become a midfielder. He's become a number 10. He scored less, although he scored the first one after winning a tackle in midfield. And he's a perfect enganche. That's how you call it in Spanish. I mean, he's become a new player almost, and he fits so well in this France system. Perhaps even more important than Mbappé, of course. Mbappé and his quality and his accelerations are a plus. But I think they found the right formation, allowing also for Kingsley Coman to play as well. So they got loads of talents. But, even without the starters, they could have another team just as strong as, for example, against the Netherlands, they were missing Fofana, Saliba, just to mention a couple. Of course, Kante has been injured for a long time. Pogba injured. Giroud on the bench. So they're going to make changes, but they're going to be really strong and fired up against the Netherlands. They were fantastic. France win and over 1.5 goals, but I'm going to be really cautious here. 186, but you might even want to go France Asian handicap minus 1.5. For Ireland, I think this is a step too far, but they're improving, of course.
Well, Hiren is telling us that France ripped Netherlands, so the next is going to be Ireland going for France over 2. But Murat, for instance, thinks that it's going to be a low scoring game, under 3.5. Alvaro, would you go for an easy victory for France, or just how do you say professional display, 2-0, something like this, and let's go back to Paris?
That's the thing with the sum, that sometimes France has been, I wouldn't say cautious, but they have found it difficult to crack very close defenses. Normally France wins because they've got loads of quality up front, and then their center backs and fullbacks are so physical that they have the individual hierarchy to stop any insurrection from the opponent. Really, that's the thing with France, that sometimes when the team doesn't work, it's just the individual displays of the players. It can actually get the game done for France, and this is something that not many national sides can do. Look, I think that France is the favorite for the game. We can all agree on that. I know that the Republic of Ireland, they will try at home. They will be pumped up in the Aviva Stadium. But historically, this game, apart from that handball from Thierry Henry, that actually I think that it was one of those situations that ended up just inclining the debate over introducing technology in football. Well, one of those handballs was the inception of it, right? It happened that day, and from that day onwards, we started talking about technology just to stop these bad things from happening. Well, apart from that game, Ireland has never been too competitive against France. In fact, they haven't beat them since 1981. That's already 42 years. The Republic of Ireland played the last game friendly against Latvia. That was not a good preparation to play against France, obviously, because the quality is totally different. Maybe Knight and Coolens should get a start here. They didn't play in that game against Latvia. And then when it comes to Ireland, we have to say that this side has failed to win any of the last 5 qualification matches for the Euros. So they have been struggling a little bit as well over the last 4 or 5 years. When it comes to France, look, I think that they are even more formidable right now than they were 2 years ago. I think that the new generation is really good again, and France is having so many new generations coming and coming. Kolo Muani is a fantastic footballer as well, and Kylian Mbappé is still 24. He turned 24 at the end of 2022, and he scored the goals easily against the Netherlands. And the truth is that with Antoine Griezmann just not playing as a number 10, in my opinion, Antoine Griezmann is different. He's just basically like a jazz musician who chips in whenever he thinks it's the right time, and he goes to the places and to the moments that the game needs. So he appears on the right, on the left, in midfield, deep, then he scores as well. So he's a little bit of an all-rounder for the French, and his wisdom is incredible, really. But for this game, look, I think that my eyes go first to Kylian Mbappé, because the other day he had 4 attempts and he scored 2 goals against the Netherlands, and I think that he's having a really good season despite PSG not qualifying to the quarterfinals in the Champions League. So Mbappé to score 167, I like it, and L'Equipe is saying that the Sam is going to use the same lineup he used against the Netherlands, with the only exception of Giroud coming in for Coman. That's the only difference, and Muani will go on the right. So Mbappé seems that he will be playing, starting this game. So Mbappé to score 2 goals, 4.33, I like it. Wow. Obviously, there is an element of risk too, but Mbappé to score 1, I like it enough. I will go for that one. But my favorite bet, thinking just about the game and not the individuals, is France to win and over 1.5 goals in that game. That pays 157.
Well, the odds for France to win, of course, are very low. That's why Rick, for instance, is going for a parlay. It's good. France, Serbia, and Hungary all to win. Hayden for Czech Republic and Austria also to win. We have to, of course, combine things to put the odds a little bit higher. And we still have 3 more interesting games. On Tuesday, we go nearby Ireland to Scotland. We have Scotland, Spain to win, very favorites, 1.68. Perhaps it's a bit too risky because it's not easy. Going to Glasgow, Scotland beat Cyprus 3-0. And there is a place where the Netherlands, Ukraine, Ireland, Denmark, for instance, they couldn't win. In Scotland, I'm not sure, Alvaro, if we have to be very optimistic or not with the new Spain under De La Fuente.
Not yet. They beat Norway 3-0. Of course, if Haaland had been there, he would have scored the chances that Sorloth missed. I think that in our La Liga shows and in our Europa League shows, I've been talking about Sorloth sometimes. I think that he's not worth of Real Sociedad number 9. Not necessarily the number, but the position. I think that, Carlos Fernandez or Cho or whoever, or Umar Sadiq could do better there when he comes back from an injury. But Spain won, and they were kind of benefited by the fact that they scored early with Olmo just deflecting on purpose cross from Alejandro Valdé. And then in the second half, we had to wait until the last 10 minutes of the game for Joselu to score a brace and wrap up the game for Spain. It was all right. Spain played more direct football. Of course, there are a few positives that we have to single out. Number 1, Kepa. Again, in Spanish goal, had a clean sheet. This is fantastic for Spain and for himself. Then there were a few changes. Nacho started, and I really like that because he has had a really good season this year. Last season he was fantastic as well. He deserved to start for Spain. I think that Mikel Merino with Rodri is a new midfield line. Let's see when Pedri is back, if Pedri will take that position. But I like Mikel Merino, and I hope that he plays more games for Spain. And up front, the only player who actually didn't perform was Iago Aspas. I think that Luis de la Fuente didn't know how to create a position for him. And Iago Aspas was a little bit in the middle of nowhere, and sometimes he was activated or touching the ball in areas where he is not transcendental at all. Let's see if Luis de la Fuente manages to find the position for Iago Aspas. But it was all right. It was all right. Plenty of youth in Spain. They had 12 attempts in the game and 7 shots on target, which is already a very big upgrade over the game against Morocco in the World Cup when Spain got eliminated, and they pretty much didn't shot on target until the last stages of that game. When it comes to Scotland, look, they won their last game with a 65% possession, which is good. They beat Cyprus, obviously. The golfing quality is there. And the midfielders were doing the job for Scotland, with McGinn scoring the first goal. He was the MVP of the game, and Scott McTominay scoring a brace. Good game for Callum McGregor as well. A milestone for him, 50 caps with the national side. And for this game against Spain, Che Adams won't be there. Che Adams is a decent striker from the Premier League, but he's injured. So they have called Lawrence Shankland, who has scored 20 goals for Hearts this term, but he has only scored 1 international goal. So, Scotland will be a little bit debilitated in the forward line without Che Adams. That said, Edu, I know that for you is not enough, but for me, I am not ready to back Spain in anything yet, like, for example, handicaps, goal markets, card markets, corner markets, because I want to see how they play with Luis de la Fuente. I have seen a little bit of a glimpse, and they seem to play more direct than with Luis Enrique. But I don't know what their style is, and their style doesn't seem to be too polished yet. So I'm going to go for Spain to win. Simple. 167.
Well, Foxfi is telling us that Spain doesn't have good attackers, and think that Alvaro is always flagging about Spain and about La Liga. Danny, you know a lot about Scottish football. Can this be a problem, this game, a problem for Spain?
It could be, because I think as much as Spain has a strongest side, they need to adapt to a new system, to a new manager. I think they played okay, as Alvaro said, against Norway. It's a game that if Haaland is on the pitch, I think they end up drawing. But, they did okay. They did well. They played a little bit more direct. Whereas Scotland already knows their system. They are very comfortable in that 3-5-2 with good wing backs, especially, of course, on the side where Robertson plays. And, in the first half against Cyprus, they were dominant. The problem with Steve Clarke is that in the second half, they faded away. The goals came a little bit late. The substitute had come to the rescue. So maybe that's what the problem could be for Spain. Playing at Hampden, where Scotland has won 4 in a row. It could be an issue. They're playing in a side that already knows what they're doing, but surely Spain are comfortable. Scotland hasn't beaten Spain since 1984, and this is the sort of game I would expect Spain to have a lot of the ball, a lot of possession, but let's see if there is enough end product there. Man for man, of course, Spain should be the stronger one, although I'm a little bit concerned still about the Spanish defense. I liked a lot Balde going forward, defending on the left-hand side. Still, let's say, room for improvements as the British people.
He is not my favorite player, Danny.
No, I know, but
defensively, I think that he miscontrols the ball a lot, man, and sometimes he gives chances so easily. Yeah.
But you wonder where is this the best left back that Spain can produce?
My favorite one is Gallá, personally. He plays for Valencia and he's good. Yeah. But the truth is that he's been so unlucky with injuries. He started the season with a 4-game ban that was ridiculous. He got an injury before the World Cup as well. Alejandro Balde has the potential, but the perceived potential is different to his real potential, in my opinion.
Well, see, I think that as considering Scotland very strong on the flanks, that could be an issue. I'm going to go over 2.25 goals, 190. Scotland, yes, true, without Che Adams. Normally, at home, they do score, but, Spain, still with a lot of possession, still, I think they might have the upper hand. I mean, of course, if there is only 2 goals here, you win half a stake.
Well, we have some comments going for both teams to score, meeting your criteria. Dani, Cayetano is going for a double, Spain and France to win. Both playing away, a bit risky. Let's see. Also, we have low odds in the next one. Switzerland, Israel. Switzerland beating Belarus 5-0 away. And we saw them in the World Cup getting thrashed by Portugal in the last 16, but also being very competitive, beating Serbia, beating Cameroon. They should be first of the group, but I also want to know, Dani and Alvaro, starting with Dani, of course, their opinion about Israel. It was a surprise, the draw at home against Kosovo, because this is a team that beat Austria, for instance, in the World Cup qualifiers, and they were a surprise in that World Cup qualifiers.
Very unpredictable, though. The last away game, Israel lost to Malta. I watched Malta-Italy yesterday. It wasn't a vintage performance, although Malta had a couple of chances. Donnarumma had to make a good save. But, to lose against Malta, it takes a while, I think. It takes an effort, with all due respect. Look, I think depending, when you look at the national teams, it's always interesting because the national team is different from club teams. You cannot buy a striker. Somehow you need to produce it through the years. And most of the teams depend from the starman. And here the starman of Israel is Manor Solomon, who plays for Fulham. Good, and that's Moon. It's Moon who plays in Germany. These are the Sturman. But, they are nowhere near the quality of some of the top teams. Everyone else plays in Israel. They haven't got great goal scorers, really. In Nations League Group B, they won that group, which is the good news. But again, they were a little bit lucky because Russia wasn't there, so they only had to beat Iceland and Albania. Iceland is not the side that once knocked out England out of the Euros. So again, it is a side that is really unpredictable. You may know what to expect. They conceded 21 goals in 10 World Cup qualifiers, so they almost is over more than two goals per game. And I think they are massively the underdog in this one because Switzerland, although they lost 7 games in the last 12 months, they are a very experienced side. They are the opposite. Most of their team, the players play in major European leagues. They are good at home. They only lost 1 of the last 16 home games, and that was against Spain, 1-0 in the Nations League. They don't lose at home easily. They managed to hold Italy 0-0. The opposite of Israel, a lot of experience. Xhaka and Rodriguez, they got over 100 caps each with Switzerland. Renato Steffen, who scored 3 at the weekend, is 31. So again, an experienced player. They got a bit of youth as well coming through. Okafor, 22. Mbolo is not on the side. I think it should be a comfortable win with this one. Much more experienced side, used to qualify for major tournament. I'm going to go for Switzerland, clean sheets, that pays 2.
Mm-hmm. Israel not to score. They also have a striker, Alvaro, playing in Spain. Weissman plays for Granada.
Yeah, he's all right. I think that, anyway, the talent of Switzerland is bigger. And that's the thing here. When I was trying to focus on this game, I was trying to find reasons to defend a little bit Israel as well, because I think that at the end of the day, you have to believe that these sides, they're going to produce something special every now and then. But the truth is that Switzerland at home, they are a tough nut to crack. That's the thing. I mean, they haven't lost the European Championships qualifier game since 2014. And they haven't lost a World Cup qualifier game since 2008. So at home. So there you have a little bit of a sign. I mean, at the end of the day, that's the reason why they always qualify for tournaments. And then in tournaments, they rarely go through the last 16 round. I mean, in Euro 2020, it's true that they eliminated France and they went to the quarterfinals, if my memory is not wrong. But normally, they are always there playing the big tournaments in summer. I'm going to back them because this has been basically main sign of identity of the Swiss. At home in the qualifiers, they've been very good, with the exception of the Nations League, in which you play against sides your level all the time. For example, Switzerland lost to Spain at home in the last Nations League. The qualifiers are different. You play against lesser opposition, and Israel is a lesser opposition to Switzerland right now. Switzerland has very good players, so I'm gonna back Switzerland in my ACCA. I think that I went for an instant handicap of minus 0.75 for Switzerland, which is 143. But here for the game itself, I can go for extend my ACCA to minus 1.25 for Switzerland. That pays 181, and I'm very happy to stay there. I think that they are going to definitely win by more than 1 goal margin.
It's a good idea actually putting Switzerland in an ACCA with these odds, and the hardest game to predict and the best one, I believe, in this second round, of course, is Turkey. Croatia. Turkey, they failed to qualify for the World Cup, and well, we know that Turkish people are absolutely crazy for football, so they don't want to miss this one. They beat Armenia. This can be a tricky group, especially with the surprising 1-1 that we saw in the Croatia-Wales. Alvaro, now Croatia is, at least they have to take a point in Turkey.
Yes, I know, and probably I don't know about you guys, but I found this result one of the most surprising. The fact that Croatia couldn't make it, because we know that they have been the masters of their craft, and how easy is it to justify this with Croatia's average age of the squad? But the thing is that in World Cup 2022, which is not so far away, it's only 3 months away, we weren't talking about their age so much. They were just competing, and they eliminated Brazil to start with. So, I really don't know what happens. What happened there to the Croatians? I mean, that 1-1 draw, especially when they score first, normally they manage to get their win. They defend very well the tight margins as well, the short score lines. And when Kramaric scored in the 28th minute for Croatia, I was like, okay, this is pretty much done and dusted. Wales is not going to make it, and Wales doesn't have like the talisman they had in the past, like Gareth Bale. But Broadhead scored in the 90th minute, and if anything, that's something that Croatia could do away from home, just scrapping like a draw in the last second. But this time, Wales did it to them. So I was very surprised by that. Then Turkey won their game against Armenia. It wasn't easy because Kabak scored an own goal at the beginning of the game, and then Turkey had to come back with 1 goal in the first half and another one in the second half. But they did it. And I think that Turkey wants to be in this Euro, and they want to. They're going to put a good fight against Croatia. That's for sure. By the way, this game is always pretty decent. I mean, I don't know if you remember that lovely game in Euro 2008. Nothing to do with this game, obviously, but Turkey and Croatia played probably one of the most entertaining games that year. And between them, the head-to-head is pretty level as well. I mean, 6 of the 10 meetings between these sides have ended in draws. But for this game, look, I think that Croatia is going to go back to their basics, and I believe that I want to think that what they got against Wales was only a slip, an accident, no more than that. But I think that 3 months is not a reason to drop your level so much or to change your style so much, especially because the manager is still the same. It's like Kodalic, who extended his contract for 2 more tournaments. So I'm going to go for a draw no bet for Croatia here, 160. And there is a combination that I really like, which is a double chance for Croatia and under 3 goals in the game. That together pays 182.
We have Murat telling us, Danny, both teams to score or a draw. Tell me, Murat, you look by the name Turkish, so perhaps also Turkish people are happy with a draw. Danny, what do you think?
Look, I think I watched bits of Croatia-Wales, not all the game. Pure luck. Wales scored in the 93rd minute with a long throw, and they scored. But, if they replay the game 10 times, Croatia wins 8 of them and draws 2, because they were so much better. They hit the bar with Perisic. Kovacic missed a sitter. They should have been 2-0 up in the first half and then wrap it up in the second half. Yes, the problem with Croatia is they don't have a great goal scorer, someone who scores the poacher goals, if you like, but they were so much better. Normally, they start slowly in qualifiers, but they are very, very reliable. We obviously nicknamed them the masters of the tight margins. They only lost one of the last 24, Croatia. That was the semi-final against Argentina. So you can kind of trust them to go to Turkey. I know difficult environment and everything, but not to crumble, not to lose. But I do like them both to score, as Murat says, and that's my tip actually. 199, both to score. Croatia, I think they're gonna nick it. Turkey hasn't kept a clean sheet in the last 5 games. It's a very young defense. I like them, but I think they got mistakes in them. No defeat at home for Turkey in the last 10 games. They are strong. They scraped it past Armenia, but careful because they got interesting player. I think Orkan Koku from Feyenoord. I think he's someone we're going to see probably in the Premier League or in Serie A next season. But I do like them. And I think they're going to qualify both Turkey and Croatia. They're much better than Wales for sure. Both to score, 199.
A lot of players actually played or are playing in Italy from Turkey and from Croatia. Danny, Cayetano loves the draw no bet for Croatia. Of course, an insurance for a draw. There might be a draw, as Murat, by the way, Turkish, of course. And Rick is asking you guys if Poland is going to beat Albania, in your opinion, that we left this game apart.
I was thinking, Edu, to keep game for my ACCA, but the money is not that good, and I'm not ready to handicap Poland because I think that they are rather conservative, and Lewandowski is not going through a good moment. So I think there are better games in this bunch of games we have in midweek. Yeah.
Then let's see which one is your safe bet, Alvaro.
My safe bet is Hungary to win, 149.
And Danny?
For me, I'm going to go Georgia-Norway. That's Spain's group. And I'm going to go over 1.5 goals, 143. Let's see if Kvaratskhelia give us a bit of emotion also on the European stage. And Norway, come on, Sorlot. Score a goal every now and then.
Pray.
And let's see your ACCAs. I don't know if you nailed the ACCA, any of you this weekend.
I didn't. I didn't because Wales scored in the 93rd minute. Otherwise, I would have nailed it.
To be honest with you, Daniele took a little bit of a risk there because he went for a high ACCA. I remember 7.5, something like that.
Something.
Yes. Yeah. That's more difficult.
I called you stingy, Alvaro. I remember because you were.
Yeah, my one was just 4, but it happened.
Yeah, small winnings in life are always good. Danny, let's try your ACCA then again.
Czech Republic, Asian handicap -1. They play Moldova. Romania to beat Belarus. Scotland, Spain over 1.5 goals. And Wales, which we spoke so badly about during the show, I think they're going to win comfortably against Latvia because they play at home. So Asian handicap -1. Total 359.
Well, for instance, Czech Republic to beat Moldova is only 1.19. So really favorites. Wales to beat Latvia is only 1.25. So they should beat these teams according to the bookies and the odds. And Alvaro, your turn.
Yeah, Hungary to win. Austria to win the second half. Asian handicap -0.75 for Switzerland. And France to win and over 1.5 goals. Altogether 454.
Okay, next video we make together, guys. Don't worry, we will talk about Bayern Munich, Man City, Real Madrid. You don't have to go to the smaller leagues, but this is fun, of course, learning a little bit about football. Remember, guys, leave your comments as always. Thank you, Alvaro. Thank you, Danny. See you very soon. Like, of course, the video and subscribe to know whenever we do new videos. Bye-bye.
See you.